Hi again, it's me, Reams. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube video, like, comment, share. Follow my blog, ourtropicalliving.com. Follow Reams Son or Our Tropical Living on Facebook and Instagram. And visit the links below so you can get more information. Today I'm going to be discussing nurse migration, my experience as a nurse working in St. Lucia, and just what I thought nursing would be. I have been having a lot of conversations with my colleagues who have migrated and they are now work overseas. And apparently, from what they've been saying, healthcare overseas is so much different compared to what I know working in St. Lucia. I have been a nurse for almost 9 years now, and it has not been an easy experience. It has been really stressful for me. I have suffered mentally, emotionally, physically, psychologically, socially, all the least. So, to the individuals who think that being with a nurse is such a nice thing, sometimes it's not. I mean, when you're sick, you have somebody to take care of you, yes, but when it comes to the other aspects, the individual most likely will miss out on a lot of family activities. When they get home, they will be so tired, so they will go to bed one time, so they will not have time for you, and that could just stress out the entire relationship, and that could easily make people cheat, because I know a lot of nurses where their partner have cheated on them and the relationship just fell apart because of the disadvantages of the job. My experience with working as a nurse, it has been really traumatic. I mean, you get to see so many different things, a lot of broken bones. You basically see the entire inside of a human being, and if you're not a strong person, it could just tear you apart. You have to deal with vomits a lot, poop, bodily fluids, blood, whatever you name it. And when you see the patient comes to the hospital, the patient is your family. Yes, you do not know anything about them until they reach, and then you learn about them, you get their biographic data, and you become the patient's mother, father, brother, sister, counselor, doctor, their child, just everything to the patient. When I just started working, I was so enthusiastic about the job. Sometimes I would get to work a whole hour before, and I would just be excited to be a nurse. I was proud to be a nurse. But 6 months after working as a nurse, my energy level kind of decreased, and I started having a lot of job dissatisfaction, because the perception that I had at the time is not what I experienced, and what I was taught at school is just so different from what you do when you get to the job. So it was a little difficult for me to transition. And I can remember telling my partner, you know, well, I want to be a nurse. I mean, that's the career that I chose, but it's just so strenuous for me. And when I sometimes I would not eat for the entire shift. The nurses will get no bathroom break. Sometimes we don't get to pee, you don't get to poop, so that causes a lot of bladder infections. You get a lot of UTIs, a lot of yeast infections, varicose veins, stomach ulcers. Some nurses get high blood pressure from working the night shifts, and sometimes you get diabetes because you always have a snack in your pocket, so you can just munch on something because you don't really have time. You don't get to take care of yourself, and it is a really physically demanding job. Nursing really does take a toll on one's body, and it affects you in all aspects, in all the leads: physically, emotionally, mentally, socially, psychologically, everything. When you're a nurse, you work shifts, so you basically have no control over your schedule. You miss out on a lot of fun family activities. You miss out sometimes even on your birthday, because you have to work on your birthday, you have to work on holidays, you have to work different shifts, and sometimes you're not there for your family as much as you'd want to be. And it is just really painful to have to experience that sometimes. I've had to cry so many times because of the job, because I thought it would have been just a smooth sail until I started working, and it just has been an eye-opener. You get to see so many different things. You see broken bones, cancers, and just how the body can go from being in a state of optimum health and wellness to just complete collapse. So that could affect you a lot. And nursing has made me become such a tough person. I mean, I am still human, I have emotions, but a lot of things don't affect me anymore because I realize how quickly people die, especially after experiencing the death of my mother. You know, when you experience your death, your death of a loved one that is so close to you, then you just see everything in a different light. So nursing has toughened me up emotionally. I can cope with a lot now, but the job is just a lot. So, to the individuals who are considering nursing, just brace yourself, prepare yourself mentally. I mean, you can never prepare yourself too much, but just expect it to be a lot. But at the end of the day, always be positive, think positively about your job, and when you go, just give it your best. When you meet your patients, just be loving, caring, supportive, and just give your all. Try to go above and beyond. In as much as a job can be stressful and you keep yourself back, nursing is a selfless act and you have to give more of yourself. It's almost like a self sacrifice. So that has been my experience as a nurse. It has been challenging over the years, but I initially wanted to be a doctor, but I just went for nursing and then I've been there, and I don't think I want to be a doctor anymore because that's close enough. And being a doctor is stressful on a whole other level. So that has been my experience, as I said. So about nurse migration, I have been speaking to a lot of my colleagues, and some people paint migrating as being such a lovely experience, and others will be like, okay, well, it's a lot. I mean, you get paid a lot, but it comes with its challenges. I have considered migrating from just before my mother passed away. I mean, I had everything in order to leave, but then something just held me back. And a good thing I stayed back because my mother ended up dying during the pandemic, and most likely if I migrated during that time, I would not have been able to come down for a burial. So I believe that for me, migrating, it would be good for me for professional and personal development, for better pay, of course, better quality of life, for personal safety, for adventure, and just for change. And I have gone to further my studies. So here in St. Lucia, I assume that when you go to further your degree, then I mean, you get paid more money and you have a different job. It would just be an easy transition from being a nurse into doing something else, because I'm a health advocate. I love teaching, I love to talk. So I just felt like maybe health education, being a health educator or something down that line would be easy and smooth sailing, but that has not worked out. I went to do my master's in public health, and I am still as well, I'm still doing floor nursing, bedside nursing. But at the end of the day, no matter what, you have to believe, you have to pray, and just be hopeful in God, and just trust in whatever that He is doing in your life, because at the end, He has the final say and He knows best, and whatever He gives you, no man can destroy. So I am still here just believing. I have made myself become more marketable, so it's not that I would have a problem going to work overseas. But I find for me to just pack my bags and leave my family behind, leave my home behind, everything my mother left behind, it's just really challenging. Plus, I have sick relatives that depend on me. So it is just a lot for me to just leave. And I know that the nurses who left, it was not easy for them either, because nobody wants to just leave their home country and just go and work in another country. At the end of the day, money is not all. Yes, when you get money, you can do so many things with the money. It can help you get ahead. But what about your peace of mind? And I find here, in as much as the job is very stressful, I have my days when I'm like, you know what, I quit. I am not going to work anymore. I am going to go and look for something else to do. But I still go to work and I still have peace of mind. So my sanity, it's much better than a higher pay. But a lot of the nurses indicated that they migrated because of limited to no upward mobility, and I wrote a list down. Limited career opportunities, lack of resources to get the job done, slow to no promotion, and that is happening. I mean, it's not just in nursing, but across the border. I know for teachers, I can be saying what I want. When you further your degree, then you get paid. But for nurses, it's like, hmm, you stay in the same position for a really long time and you do not get recognized for your degree. So, I mean, imagine going to school for how many years? 3 years, well, now 4 years to do nursing. Then you go, you do your bachelor's, you do your master's, and you spend so much time going to school, you spend a lot of money, you make a lot of sacrifices, and you still get the same pay. And sometimes people or nurses who started working after you, they just have an associate degree and then they promote them, but you stay at the same grade. It's not that you do not do your job, you still get outstanding appraisals, but for some reason they are just promoted quicker than you. So all of that frustrated some individuals, and that is why they left. I do not blame them, because I mean that's just a tough thing to go through. Some nurses indicated that they felt like they had no future, they had no benefits working in St. Lucia, other than free healthcare, of course. And the work environment was so poor and it was unstable. Of course, lack of workplace safety, limited staffing, heavy workload, and high nurse to patient ratio. No overtime pay, no risk allowance, no charge nurse duty pay, limited to no say in your work schedule and working hours, limited chances to upgrade your nursing skills, and hostility in the workplace. Of course, wherever you go, you'll always have problems. I mean, you have people who don't like you, or you will not get along with certain people. That happens everywhere, but these are reasons that some of the nurses left. And some indicated to me that they had non-involvement in decision making. I mean, if you're in an organization and you have no say in decision making, I mean, yes, you have the employee, you're the employee, you go to work, you get paid, but your inputs should be valuable, because most times people have a lot to say, and it's not just a matter of management trying to figure out what to do, but at least consider what others have to say. Because when you have how many people coming together to decide on something, most times the outputs, it's much better overall. And lack of support from supervisors, little to no recognition, undervaluation and appreciation by the public and the government. Of course, you know, the public, they lambaste nurses all the time. It's like we are bullied, we are targeted, we are bashed because of, and I understand, because I mean, the little wrong that we do could claim somebody's life, but we do a lot of good too. So if we do the good, you have to say we do the good and not just only highlight the bad. And even with the recognition, as my colleagues have migrated, when I go on Facebook sometimes, I see how the agencies highlight the good that they do and just thank them for the process. Although it was tiring and it was a long process, they thank them for migrating and deciding to migrate and how well they treat the patients. So that plays a significant role in one's decision to at least just feel, to stay and to just feel appreciated. And unsatisfactory and unstable political environment that caused a lot of job uncertainty. People were afraid, they did not know what to do, and that is why a lot of nurses left, because of the unstable political environment at the time. Because you, as you know, we had to sign contracts, but that is a whole other story. Some nurses explain that they were, because of the treatment that they got from their manager, it made them feel uncomfortable, and you know, it's like they did not know what exactly to do, especially when it came during the unstable political environment. You would ask what exactly you should do, but then it's like everybody, they're just so uncertain as to what to do. So that just made a lot of people decide to leave, because they felt like they had no, like their home country did not want them anymore. So, to all of the nurses who have migrated, I hope you leave a comment as to how your experience is going, whether it is better than here. I mean, I have not worked overseas, so I can only talk about working in St. Lucia. But how can nurses be kept? I mean, so many nurses have left And so many nurses plan to leave. So many nurses are already in the process of leaving. They are just waiting for that call, or they are just waiting for the ticket so that they could leave. When nurses migrate to other countries, they get lucrative packages for themselves and their families. You get so many benefits because, I mean, it's an agency paying for you to come to their country so you can work. And it is just surprising that the nurses are migrating at such high numbers, and I am not really hearing anybody, especially those in authority, discuss how it will affect the healthcare system, especially tourism. Nurses not having adequate nurses in a country could prevent the basic healthcare needs of the population being met. And of course, you'll have people who get sick, or if not be sicker, you'll not have enough nurses to care for the population. So that has a rippling effect. And if I'm a tourist and I want to come to St. Lucia, if I already know that St. Lucia has poor healthcare, I would consider whether I actually want to come to St. Lucia before I buy my ticket. I might go to another country with better healthcare. So, and sometimes you find that people are not discussing the problem because they know that if they become sick, then they could easily take a helicopter or just take a plane and go and travel to another country to get healthcare. But for you who do not have sufficient money to care for yourselves and your family, when you do this, when you do become sick, what are you going to do when you go to the hospital and then there are not adequate staff or there are no staff? And the fact that we already have limited nurses working, I mean, it's more patients to one nurse, and that causes burnout. I mean, you get dissatisfied with your job because you have a heavier workload and you have high levels of absenteeism, which would already affect the already damaged healthcare system. So something really has to be done. I mean, it's not all about money, like I said, but maybe a pay raise or added benefits. Maybe a bond can be made on nurses who are already going to school, where they get free tuition and just basic things. I mean, have a meeting with nurses, ask them how you could try to keep them and take them serious. Because if you do not have a healthy population, the economy will just fall, everything will collapse. So, oh, the video has been too long. So that's my take on nursing in St. Lucia. How do you feel about nursing in St. Lucia? I know nurses have gone through a lot. Um, with the public, of course, everybody have a lot to say. Some say the good, some say the bad. So, how has your healthcare experience been? And how has it been working with me, Nurse Fontenelle? So remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow my blog, and see you.